Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our February webinar series, The Heart of Wellness, Relationships, Identity, and Emotional Safety. Today, we will be having a webinar presentation by Josetta Bentley, Healing Through History, Mental Health, Resilience, and the Black Experience. A little bit about Josetta. Josetta is a first-generation graduate student who previously graduated from Rutgers Newark with a master's in history while pursuing a minor in psychology and teaching with a second concentration in urban education. She taught STEAM and Afrofuturism for a year within the Hillside School District. She's been teaching and helping shape the minds of scholars for over 4 years through curriculum-based learning, poetry, and just being her. She also is a coach of 2.5 years for middle school girls basketball and middle school football. She has decided to put a pause on being a classroom educator and work with NJ4S Union because she is passionate about protecting one's peace and mental health. Without further ado, I will hand it over to Josetta for their presentation.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. Today's presentation will explore historical trauma, cultural resilience, and protective factors that support Black mental wellness while emphasizing prevention through community care and culturally responsive education. And when I say education, I mean in and outside of the classroom. To start it off, I want to talk about why this conversation matters. Mental wellness is not just about individual coping. It's shaped by history, environment, and community. Prevention starts before crisis through connection, care, and culture. When we think about information and how we receive it, we always want to think and keep in mind about the historical trauma that comes with being Black or a person of color, whether you come from Africa, Mexico, Guatemala, anywhere around the world that isn't America. A lot of times, historical trauma refers to the cumulative emotional and psychological harm passed down through generations due to enslavement, Jim Crow segregation, racial violence, ongoing systemic racism. And these experiences can affect stress response, trust in institutions, family, and community dynamics. Trauma is not a weakness, it is a response to real conditions in everyday life. Moving towards the education system, when it comes to education, when you know better, you do better. At least 18 states have recently passed laws or official restrictions where teachers can no longer teach cultural responsive teaching, meaning inclusion is not a thing. They cannot teach you about history, American history. They cannot teach you about cultural history. It is off limits. 44 of these states have introduced bills or taken steps to restrict how race and gender are discussed in schools. What this means is these bans and restrictions are not uniform. Some explicitly ban terms or frameworks like CRT, which stands for Culturally Responsive Teaching. A lot of times books are banned, movies are banned, just any and everything that revolves around representing someone's culture or heritage, such as national holidays. This is broadly restricted, and discussions of race, gender, and equality are also limited within schools now. This affects how teachers are allowed to discuss history and social issues within the classroom. Many laws target topics that go beyond CRT, such as gender, sexuality, or division concepts. When we educate, we are able to open doors for others, especially the young ones. So we have to keep fighting. Cultural responsive education integrates students' cultural backgrounds into the learning environment, fostering engagement and empowerment. By promoting awareness of historical context and addressing stigmas, we can cultivate supportive spaces that enhance mental wellness and encourage resilience among Black students, ultimately leading to healthier communities. Educating the youth also allows for bullying to not happen, for people to understand others with their social backgrounds, their cultural backgrounds, their religious backgrounds, even their gender background. When we open the door for more information or more education, it leads to a better outcome. And when we think of the education system, a part of us might want to think about how we can liberate the mind. So if they're taking away the CRT, how can we help fix this outside of the classroom? This is where the cultural resilience emerges. Despite the historical trauma, Black communities have survived and adapted across generations, have created systems of care when formal systems excluded them, passed down strengths, wisdom, and collective survival strategies. And you might see that now in today's world where we are all coming together to fight against ICE. Some may ask, well, what is cultural resistance? Cultural resistance is when you have the ability to heal, adapt, and thrive through shared identity and history, cultural traditions, and storytelling, faith, spirituality, there we go, and meaning making, humor, creativity, and joy. We talk to those who cut our hair or wash our hair, style it in ways, because that's just what we do. But also keep in mind that peer support and mentorship is key. Community care predictors. So, how can we shift the narrative? And by shifting the narrative, it means taking stigmatisms or false impressions and making them, taking those and turning it into something we want people to see that is positive. This all starts with traditional mental health messages um, that are often focused on individual responsibility. There we go. Also, crisis response, having a prevention focused approach, such as how do we support people earlier? How do we reduce harm at the community level? How do we honor cultural strengths? See, mental wellness grows where people feel seen, valued, and supported. Excuse me. So, with that being said, try something new. Listen without judgment, normalize rest and boundaries, check in regularly with your friends or family. Also, look into support in local community organizations or even your local shops. Stop with all the big name brands and go smaller for the own businesses, whether it's Black owned, Mexican owned, Hispanic owned, whatever it is, right? Let's ditch the name brands, let's ditch the big brands and advocate for equality, equity, and access. Small acts of care, repeated often, they become powerful. And this is where we start the collective healing process. It is possible. Anything is possible. Black mental wellness is supported by acknowledging historical trauma, honoring cultural resilience, strengthening protective factors, investing in community care. And all of this prevention happens when we care for each other, consistently, collectively, and with intention. It offers community programs, educational information, and advocacy that support social and economic well-being. This is a great place to learn about local cultural celebrations, community programs, and outreach resources that highlight diversity and inclusion across the county. That being said, these are some organizations within New Jersey, Union County of New Jersey, that help people learn more information about the type of community that they're in, such as the Urban League of Union. The Urban League of Union, I forget. It is a place that offers information about what is going on in the county, as far as like maybe it's a street festival, parade, Juneteenth, anything that recognizes a national holiday. The Union County of offers community engagement and diversity. It's a county resource place. It's a great place for you to learn about your local cultural celebrations, any type of programs. And then you have the NAMI Union County, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. It offers free educational programs, support groups, and culturally relevant conversations about mental health, including a video series focused on Black community experiences. Lastly, I have Family Support Organizations, which provides education and pair-based braces, pair-based support for families navigating emotional and behavioral health issues. So if you do live in Union County, New Jersey, these are some places where you could go to learn more information about what's going on in your community or your county, and also be a part of it. Help be a part of the change, help be more engaging, help your community members feel safe, welcomed. And that is all.
All right, Josie, if you don't have a end slide, you can just put it back on the first slide. All right, thank you so much, Josetta, for that amazing presentation. It was very informative, and a great call to action for the community at large. If you would like more information about NJ4S, you can email us at NJ, the number 4S Union at preventionlinks.org, or you could also find us on social media at NJ, the number 4S Union, and please check out the Prevention Links YouTube page for more informative webinars like this. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day.